Zichronot. These first blasts of the shofar call us to the voices of our personal past as well as our communal past. The blast from Sinai, when we forged a covenant with God. This covenant calls to us today as never before to be not only voices of conscience and compassion, but to live our lives as the very hands of God. The sound of the shofar calls us to remember every single teacher who shaped our lives and urged us in ways large and small to do the good in our lives.
Shivarim Trua Tekiah Tekiah Shivarim Tekiah Tekiah Teruah Tekiah.
In this chapter of Malchuyot, we humble ourselves as we consider God's sovereignty. But as we move now to the second shofar service, we consider this theme of sovereignty in the context of the American project. Martin Kaplan, a USC expert on media and society, writes, "If democracy is America's civic religion, then its sacred text is the Declaration of Independence. It is in that text that we read that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." 84 years after these words were written, Abraham Lincoln returned to them in a speech at Gettysburg. 77 years ago, he said, "Our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal." Lincoln returned to the Declaration's founding principles because he knew that the country needed to do more than affirm individual freedom and human equality. The country needed to achieve them. And so Lincoln called on the people to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us. The great task consisted in making certain that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The next blasts of the shofar call us to Lincoln's still unfinished work to achieve individual freedom and human equality for every person in our great country.
Tekiah Shivarim Trua Tekiah Tekiah Shivarim Tekiah Tekiah Teruah Tekiah. These final blasts of the shofar call us to hope. The shofar itself has a bend. It cannot be straight. Like the arc of our universe, bends towards hope, bends towards justice, and bends towards what is unfinished. The calls of the shofar are a mirror of history, perhaps a mirror of our own times. The first Tekiah we hear is the length of 3 sobs, which quickly descend into cries that become more and more broken. But always, always, we end with the Tekiah Gedolah, the great unwavering call out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope, that there is always work to be done and reason to have hope. The shofar is our greatest prayer, a sound that is heard through the storm that leads us towards purpose, towards the commitment of justice and equality. God, today when we sound the shofar, when we hear the shofar, let us hear in it the cry of the oppressed and the hurting. Let us sing the song of a world who sings in one voice. Help us hear within it the unfinished work of our world, and grant us the strength and courage to step into it unafraid.